Last Sunday, WWE held their last pay-per-view of the year, TLC. The build has been a mixed bag, since there were matches with a ton of hype that could convince anyone to watch this event, and then you have matches like this, or this, or this. So without further ado, let's see if this event was a hit or a miss. As expected, the Cruiserweight division had an outstanding match that once again got a disinterested crowd hooked on the action in the ring. As we saw with their two previous encounters, Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy have great chemistry. Their strikes and high-flying moves were top-notch, and the fact Murphy once again retained after being hit with a lumbar check really builds his credibility as champion. While technically the weakest of the matches between these two, it was still a great way to open the show. How I wish this wasn't once again sent to the kickoff show. To start, why was this a ladder match? The ladder stipulation could have been used to enhance many other matches on the card, but instead it was wasted in this feud. As for the match, it wasn't bad, it just felt really pointless. It was too short to be really memorable, and while there were some decent spots, there was nothing we haven't seen before. Elias won, got beat up after the match, and had his guitar smashed on his back. Why? Because frustratingly, this feud isn't over yet. First things first, how did this end up as the finals? Of all the teams that started this season of Mixed Match Challenge, these two were easily the least credible, yet here we are. At least the match was quite entertaining. Truth and Carmella can be really fun, so props to them for winning the number 30 spots. Even though I genuinely think shenanigans will stop R-Truth from actually entering the Rumble. There is not much else to say about this one, just like the rest of Mixed Match Challenge. This was a really enjoyable match. The Bar were in control early on until the Usos tagged in and started super kicking everyone. At that point, the match really picked up with some great near falls and several cool looking spots. The ending was quite good too, with the Bar outsmarting the babyfaces to get the win. I don't really mind the result, since any team would have been a good pick to win. I just wish this had a stipulation, it could have really benefited from having one. Where do the champions go from here? Probably something related to Sanity or Gallows and Anderson, based on the last SmackDown. By the way, thanks WWE for actually doing something with these teams. This wasn't much of a wrestling match, more of a beatdown, that gave Apollo Crews, Chad Gable and Bobby Roode something to do and reintroduced Kurt Angle to television. Now the question is, will Raw actually improve now that Corbin's reign of terror is finally over and the McMahons have taken over? As long as this new era of Raw stays away from heel authority figures, anything will be an improvement. This was an okay match. It brought this feud to an end, with the Villainous Riot Squad getting their comeuppance and Natalya standing tall in tribute to Jim the Anvil Neidhart. All fine, just the pace of the match was a bit too slow for my liking. But at least the table spots looked good. Except for that one with Liv Morgan. Is she okay? That was a nasty fall. Anyway, back on topic. I think the stipulation used in this match once again could have been used to enhance any other match on the card. Not much else to say about this one either. Not really memorable. I really like this match. McIntyre was in control for most of the match, with Balor getting some solid offense in between McIntyre's attacks. The ending was quite weird, since I don't think anyone expected Finn Balor to pick up the win. A very strange booking choice, but at least Drew McIntyre was protected in defeat, since it wasn't a clean victory. And Balor got a win on pay-per-view against a credible opponent. That makes me really happy, even with the interference. Anyway, right now I'm not sure where this storyline is going. I guess McIntyre and Ziggler will keep on feuding, But Balor and Ziggler faced each other on Raw, and now they're all scheduled for a triple threat match next week. This was Rey Mysterio's first single pay-per-view match since coming back, and it was decent. There were a couple of alright spots involving the chairs, with Mysterio's sliding crossbody being the highlight of the match. Besides that, there wasn't really anything too innovative or exciting. I wasn't invested on this feud anyway, and would have rather seen Rusev vs Shinsuke Nakamura or Samoa Joe vs Jeff Hardy. The far from definitive nature of the ending makes it clear this feud isn't over yet, which bugs me, since I think both men could be doing much more interesting stuff against younger and newer opponents, instead of rehashing a match from 2006. Once again, Ronda Rousey's match was pretty entertaining. Nia was in control for a good part of the match, with Ronda selling Nia's offense nicely. Ronda keeps on improving and her move repertoire keeps on growing with every match. The ending sequence was excellent, with Ronda looking great and getting the crowd excited by defeating her match-despised opponent in a convincing manner. Now that this feud is over, we all probably know what's next for Ronda on the way to WrestleMania, and if booked well, it will make for some great television. By the way, that backstage segment with Becky beating down Nia was so satisfying. This was one of the most anticipated matches of the night, and it more than delivered some awesome action that had the crowd invested throughout most of its duration. The psychology was great, with the Styles destroying Bryan's knee near the end, and Bryan selling it like a champ. The final moments were amazing, with both men selling the exhaustion while still putting everything into the match, and having some incredibly close near falls. I was surprised by the cheap finish, mostly because it was technically clean. Bryan didn't use any kind of shenanigans to win, which was a breath of fresh air and a great way to make Bryan look like a credible champion. My only question is, where does AJ go from here? Is he getting another shot, or is someone else stepping up? This was an okay match. I liked it to an extent, but man, the pace was way too slow, and after the last couple of weeks took away the heat from this feud, it needed to be a fun and entertaining encounter, and it failed at that. Near the end we got some cool sequences, but it was too little too late for the San Jose crowd, who even chanted, "This is boring." This really could have used a stipulation, especially due to the personal nature of the feud. Instead, we got a bland and underwhelming match that pales in comparison to these men's previous encounters a couple of years ago. At least, now that Rollins is no longer champion, he has a shot at winning the Royal Rumble if recent rumors end up being true. Hell of a match. From the get-go, these women gave it their all with a bunch of great spots. Some weren't executed perfectly, like Charlotte going through a table early on the match, but the ones that did were amazing and really painful looking, like Becky's leap into Charlotte. The ending was really surprising, since I did not expect Ronda Rousey to get involved, but it served its purpose of continuing the rivalry between Ronda, Becky and Charlotte. I only got 2 nitpicks with this match. One, I think Charlotte and Becky should have sold some of the spots longer. And 2, as happy I am that Asuka finally won the championship and it's at the top of the women's division, I just wish her victory hadn't been so cheap. Besides those small issues, this match was phenomenal and opens up the possibility of Becky winning next year's Royal Rumble to set her match with Ronda, which should be really exciting. Props to everyone involved. Overall, TLC was a really great pay-per-view to end this year's WWE calendar. We had fantastic and rewatchable encounters in the TLC Triple Threat, the WWE Championship match, the Cruiserweight Championship match, the Tag Team Triple Threat, and the Raw Women's Championship match. The rest of the show was average, with the finals to Mixed Match Challenge being the weakest, but nothing that truly damaged the show's overall quality. This show was a clear hit by WWE. If you enjoyed my review, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment, or you can follow me on Twitter at TommyWrestling. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, see ya!